We had a pretty large bang associated with the caution and warning now. Okay, so we have an apparent serious oxygen leak.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we've had a problem. He's in a roll and he can't stop it. Performing an evasive maneuver. Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here. I think we need to do a little more all-weather testing.
Welcome to space.
I want a beetle.
Dude, hell yeah. Everyone should have a beetle.
Actually, no, I need a cat, but I'm scared.
Also, is that person in the server convincing you on the merits of getting a bug as a pet?
No, I've always kind of liked bugs because they're kind of weird, specifically larger beetles, because they're like more smooth. Whereas, worms are kind of they're just like more amorphous and therefore diabolical.
Whereas if you get like a stag beetle, it's perfect hand grenade size. And it's got the resilience. Like I'm gonna
breed just like stag beetles that have an innate hatred of just officers. And then just you're coming into my apartment. I just point my hand.
Not even like bitten and like swarmed to death. It's just using its super strength. It's just suplexing people repeatedly.
No, it's just landing on the face. Like I just point at the door. And they just go.
Does a little salute. Just walking in and seeing that my stag beetle is wearing a little like Japanese headband. Alrighty, so we have clapped, we have sunk. Listen, I needed to amp you up for this. I needed to get you ready. Hello, listener, and welcome to Failure to Launch, the space history podcast where we take you through all the mistakes, failures, and explosions that made modern space exploration possible. We are your hosts, Quinn, he, him.
Chris, he, him.
And a tired Chris, he, him.
And today, we've got a topic that hits just about every one of our interests. Rockets, conspiracy grifters, stuntmen, and parachutes. Today, we're going to be talking about Mad Mike Hughes, the daredevil who got himself killed trying to prove the Earth is flat. So how are you guys all doing? Right off the bat, I don't want to interrupt, but I was really, because we had our little intro spiel in which other Chris, you went from sounding incredibly tired to kind of happy, and I was really worried that as soon as you said the words, "and I'm tired, Chris," in the intro, something would click and you would remember.
You got me fucking started, and all I can see are...
I was worried about anything that could pierce.
All I can hear are stag beetles marching to this song now.
God damn. Okay, well now I have to keep it in. Now I have to keep the stag beetle talk in because you've referenced it in the main episode.
The kamikaze stag beetles.
Amazing.
Listener, whenever we don't have a script, we get incredibly stupid. More so than normal.
Caffeine all day. I'm tired. My helmets
It's okay. It's okay, buddy. Let's. I'm trying to think of whether like this topic is like. Come on, let's lull you to dreamland with a nice, fun, happy topic.
Let's lull you to dreamland, talking about beetles.
Just picture pulling the blanket up over you, except it's millions of beetles.
Except it's you
Shiny,
two with baseball bats.
Grabbling at you.
What do you mean? The Beatles are my friends. They would never betray me. Meanwhile, the Beatles.
Sorry, Chris, I cut you off there. You were about to tell us how you were doing.
I'm okay.
Nice.
Come on.
No notes.
You're gonna make me go to ChatGPT and summon a giant stag beetle with an imperial Japanese.
Oh, I thought you were going for like ChatGPT. How do I respond to my fucking fans and tell them how I'm doing?
How do I tell my fans I'm unstable now?
How do I get the most like corporate "I am doing okay" answer to give on my podcast? All right, so I guess I can get us into this. Have either of you guys ever heard of Mad Mike Hughes before?
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, Chris, I think you mentioned that you were aware of this story.
Yeah, I'm like much more aware of this story than I am of most things that we talk about on this show.
Nice. And how about yourself, either Chris? You ever heard of this guy?
No.
Do you remember a period in 2020 where you may have seen a headline that said something along the lines of like, flat earther killed in homemade rocket accident?
Oh, the steam rocket guy.
Hell yeah. Mike Hughes was a race car driver and stuntman, previously holding the record for world's longest limousine jump. Like most stuntmen, he had a long and very weird life, but crucially for us, it led Mike to decide that he would launch his own rockets so that he could prove the Earth is flat. And for sourcing, I've been using the website madmikehughes.com as well as some articles on his life and death. As always, all links will be provided down below in the show notes.
The world's most famous limo driver.
Now, Michael Hughes was born February 9th, 1956, in Oklahoma City. From a young age, he was obsessed with cars and vehicles. His father, Jay, owned an auto body shop and raced cars in his free time. Both Mike and his younger brother followed their dad into that obsession. Mike's legend goes that he was attending his dad's races from the age of 2 months. Little Mike was also an incredibly precocious child. His relatives describe him as like reading any single book he could get his hands on, and he very quickly became an expert in cars, both maintaining them and driving them. He was like very quickly working at his dad's auto shop. His father encouraged all of this, providing Mike with any part he needed and helping get both his sons into motorcycle racing. What Jay did not encourage was any loftier dreams. Mike's Uncle Bob said that the Hughes family was a very rough one. Jay beat his sons regularly and stamped out any dreams of getting a higher education. The Uncle Bob also says that, like, yeah, Mike could have easily gone to college. He could have easily gone and done all of that. His dad just, like, very quickly said, like, no, you're not doing that. And then beat the shit out of him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
Getting his education entirely at the college of his father's fists.
God damn.
Yeah. Again, this was kind of like, I'm going into this thinking like, oh, this is just going to be a low calorie, let's laugh at this guy thing. And the first thing his biography is just like, his dad fucking beat him every single day.
His dad beat his shit like a tambourine.
His Uncle Bob also makes the point of saying like, and it wasn't even like his dad Jay was like a drunk or anything. He describes it as Jay would just beat Mike for no reason whatsoever.
Is this the great America I'm told so much about?
Hell yeah. I don't know anything about Oklahoma. You guys will have to tell me if I am now correct in thinking that that's all of Oklahoma.
It's not all of Oklahoma.
Damn it. How, like 95% then?
I mean, to be fair, OKC is like 90% of Oklahoma, but like...
It's non-zero.
Okay.
Listen, I'm not going to knock Oklahoma because I have a friend from Oklahoma. And she would attack me if I attacked Oklahoma.
Okay, so you are worried about being physically assaulted by an Oklahoman.
Yeah.
Over talking about physical abuse taking place in OKC.
Can I offer you a detachment of stag beetles?
Like protecting yourself, like it's the fucking sandworms in Dune. Just covering yourself in
Cover myself in sand trout.
Yeah. So while his dad definitely set him on this weird life path, there doesn't seem to have been much love lost between them, because Mike left the family as soon as he could and he never looked back.
Awesome.
Also, he basically follows the same trend with his kids down the line. We'll get to it. Kind of generational trauma.
Yeah, the cycle continued with him, unfortunately.
My father before him. Yeah, exactly. Starting at age 12, Mike raced dirt bikes and quickly went pro, racking up wins in ice bike racing, which I didn't know was a thing, and competing in the American Motorcyclist Association's championship races. And as I describe this, I want to make it clear that at any point in his life, Mike was probably working 2 or 3 different jobs and running like a bunch more hobbies. So like while he's doing this bike racing, he is also modifying and racing cars. He is also working at various different shops to like make money here and there. The one thing that linked any of the things that he was doing was that they inevitably involved motorcycles or cars. So even while he was still a professional motorcycle racer, Mike used his mechanic skills to earn a spot on several NASCAR pit crews, working for drivers like Rob Morrisseau and Randy Lajoie, eventually graduating to a crew chief. In the late 80s, he was even hired to help with the Tom Cruise NASCAR movie Days of Thunder, where he actually built
yeah, brother.
Yeah, dude, this guy, Mad Mike Hughes, he built the mellow yellow car out of scraps that Cruise then drove and then crashed. So that's him.
I can't even say anything else.
Yeah, like we're all finding things to be super sympathetic to this guy.
It was you know what it was? It was a good bad movie.
I can respect that. I have a lot of good bad movies. Especially like I think everybody has those movies that they know now are bad or that people tell them are bad, but like I watched a lot of movies whenever I was a kid, and I really enjoyed them, and that was before I developed media
I enjoyed
literacy.
it, don't get me wrong. That's why I'm throwing it in that category. I haven't watched
I
it
have
since.
a really obscure line of thinking that I'm going to just beg you for mercy on, and I'm going to explain really poorly. But basically, it's the thought that I had was the way that you enjoyed movies as a child is in the similar vein of babies are born worshiping gods that nobody knows or whatever.
Okay, listen, it's time for us to watch Days of Thunder as a bonus.
So as
okay,
a
that
child,
makes it a space movie. Yes.
As a child, like your concept of what is good and bad about like cinema isn't there because
6 degrees to space.
Yeah, you have multiple degrees of separation as a fucking toddler, right? So like, you know, you can
I think
enjoy
that comparison
a movie.
would work better if I found out at age 18 someone was just like, yo, you worship that fucking god? No, everyone hates that one. And I'm just sitting there thinking like, I thought it was cool. So getting back to this, like as Mike is rising up, he's kind of going like step by step, rank by rank up the seriousness of American auto sports. Like he starts off racing, he starts off doing like dirt bike racing, and now he is a crew chief on a NASCAR team, and like he is a contractor and expert on NASCAR movies and stuff like that. He realizes that he can use these limos to carve himself out a real chunk of fame. This also becomes a pattern because all through his life, Mike Hughes was obsessed with fame and had an ironclad belief that if he was just interesting enough to people, endless fame and fortune would come his way. This also isn't too unique, I need to be clear. Like this, you could argue that this is a job requirement for stuntmen. This is like all of them act this way.
Oh, I thought I was special, Quinn.
Oh.
If I could just be interesting enough, but I guess it takes more than that.
My interactions with you definitely, like I've gotten the sense that you are desperate for fame and attention and to have everyone's attention on you all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't tell? It's not obvious?
I found an interesting quote in a Wired article where the author talked to Mike before his rocket launches. Mike believed that if he pulled it off, quote, I'll be the most famous guy on the planet. I could run for president. I could run for governor and be a shoo-in. What people need to realize is that this is going to be the most watched event in the history of mankind. More people will watch this than the supposed moon landing.
Oh, Mike.
Mike.
Oh, Mike, you're a product of your circle.
It's layers of delusion. Although at the same time, I do think that like
he wears it like
he's an
armor,
actor all the time. So like, how much does he actually believe?
Imagine he becomes a mayor, though. Can we have the mayoral rocket?
That's how you leave office.
No, that's how you, like, you know, burn in way too hot to an occasion and just land on the ground dead.
Riding off into the sunset, except it's like at the end of the movie when I have done all the good, when I have saved the town, I hop into my pressure cooker and I fly off into the air and then crash.
I fly 2 blocks down and burn and just crater.
I fly off into the skies, disappearing into the clouds, and then 10 seconds later, they just see like a dot slam into a mountain far away.
No, far away. No, I'm telling you, it's going to be like 2 to 4 blocks.
Yeah, the wind pushes me back into town.
You underestimated the weight.
This is just that drill quote, except it's instead of a, like, I rev my motorcycle, it's I get in my rocket limo, and then I am dead on the ground instantly.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I get it. I get in my rocket limo. I hit the ignition and a plume of smoke covers the area, and when the smoke clears, I'm lying dead on the ground. I take out my local
Circle K. I am dead.
And as that quote shows, like, not only does he have a very huge, like he has a very diluted idea of how many people would be interested in watching a guy kind of like jump up a pressure cooker kind of thing. Like, I'm willing to bet that most people who know Evel Knievel do not know about the Snake River Canyon jump. Also, the fact that we will see whether, like, there is a debate about whether or not he was actually a flat earther. Through his entire life, he is a moon hoaxer. He believes that the Jews are running the world. And he has like a weird, we'll get to it, but he has a very weird, like semi-sovereign citizen belief where he thinks that if he spells your name in all caps, he owns you.
Yeah, that's like basic soft sit stuff.
Yeah.
What if I say his name back to him in all caps?
Well, if you say it in a mirror 3 times.
Does power word kill work on him?
If it's all caps.
Can I scream at him in Esperanto and he will just explode at some point?
I'm just shouting like binary code at him. Blood starts pouring out of his ears.
No, blood starts pouring out of your nose. He catches a flame.
Like Mad Mike Hughes knows the language of God. No one else knows the true tongue but him.
And you now.
Anyway, Mike took a look at his life, his experiences, and the skills he had built up, and found out that he could combine all of them. He would become a stuntman limo driver.
Why couldn't he have launched the steam limo into lower orbit?
Like, I need to be clear on this. I kind of hate how much he just tries to copy everybody else, because his entire shtick as a stuntman is to just pick other people's famous accomplishments and try and do it like, limo time now. Evel Knievel tried to jump Snake River Canyon on a bike. I'm gonna do it on a limo.
We landed men on the moon. How about
limo?
3 limos?
Okay, no, I just have the mental
One small
image
step
of the
for limos. I would not put that past. Yeah, well, first off, he doesn't.
Do you think in the
believe
Cars
he
universe,
thinks
like
he
are
would
limos like the upper class? Like there's more car to them
because they have to be transportation. I think a limo.
Yeah.
I think but now we're also just talking about the trucks. You know, like the 18-wheelers.
Like we know that the Cars Holocaust happened. So
yes, because
you're
Cars
right.
World War II did happen.
So we know that like there's like a degree of classism
or
and,
ethnicity.
Like, ethnicity in the Cars universe.
Did Hitler's car?
What did they make? Did they make? Wasn't it? Was there a Gaddafi car or was there like a Saddam car? I forget.
I think there was a
they're
Saddam
both.
car. I'm sure there would have been all of them. Like if we've established that World War II happens, Yuri Ladarin launching into space. Anyway,
all I want to know is, can we have, our lovely little limo just strapped to a Delta 4 Heavy?
it's just like at the top. Oh, dude, like only bolting it to the bumper. No actual like structural attachment.
No, I want it straight on the tip, but with no fairing. Like that shit will have to punch its way through the atmosphere as we intend.
I could do a computational fluid dynamics of like how a limo would handle re-entry.
Oh god, no, Quinn, that's gonna be it. What is the limo capacity of Falcon Heavy against a Blue Origin 9x4? How many limos can we safely deliver into orbit?
Merv.
How many kinetic impactor limos can we have up there?
During the days, Mike would shuttle tourists around Las Vegas in a limo plastered with Mad Mike Hughes, the world's most famous limo driver, on the windows. He is not yet famous, but I guess for him, like the first step to becoming famous is to declare yourself famous.
What if he just, gets into the most deliberate, 60-mile-an-hour head-on in history?
He's just driving around Las Vegas like it's burnout paradise, and it's just like my reputation's going up. But by night, he would perform limo-based stunts. In 2002, he got himself a Guinness World Record by jumping his limo over 100 feet, though he cracked his spine on the landing.
Are we talking a little crack? A big crack?
A little crack. Like this guy is noteworthy among stuntmen because he gets his spine gets injured so many times, but it's always the kind of injury where he's back and fine within like a month.
How the fuck?
God made the dumbest humans in history just out of rubber, and they are able to survive anything.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is a living Stretch Armstrong. And he wasted all of that. A year later, he would try and push this record to 125 feet, though he did fail, but it got him a guest spot on Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Woo! But I mean, this guy is completely obsessed with fame, and will do anything. We'll get to this later. He will do anything for fame and money.
Yeah, I know about
the
Jimmy.
first
You don't
itch.
have to tell me. I got it.
But I'm Tish.
That's the first itch forward. Come on.
Mad Mike Hughes' career as a stuntman basically consisted of trying previous famous stunts, but just doing it in a limo. Eventually, he discovered a jump that we've talked about on this show before. That was Evel Knievel's failed attempt to jump the Snake River Canyon on a rocket bike. If you haven't heard of that and want to learn more, it's because it's buried in part 2 of our series on Sea Dragon.
A series that I was not a part of.
I apologize. And that did not go, and it did not go well.
You know what he should have done? It would have gone better if he carried some mail as ballast and sold postcards.
Well, yeah, we just need to like merge every single space history figure we've talked about into like one guy. I feel
we
like
need to make the Omnicause.
I feel like Nikolai Kovalchich kind of throws a weird wrench into that plan.
Because there's no czars left to kill.
No,
so...
because what would happen is Kovalchich would just be, he's like the Candyman. You whisper his name 3 times in the ear. He appears behind you with a hand grenade and a crowbar.
And plans for a flying machine.
and a shitty hat.
He flies in on a VTOL flying machine.
With the shitty hat.
Yes.
The shitty hat is integral.
So yeah, that's where you can find more info on the Evel Knievel stuff. In his actual jump, he didn't even make it halfway across the canyon. His parachute deployed way too early, and the rocket crashed into the river where Knievel almost drowned. So Mike saw that and thought, like, I'm going to do that in a much heavier vehicle. Again, I know he's actually like doing the stunt. Like with him, I've said that I think he's I think he's kind of like copying people. I don't like how he basically just steals other people's ideas and then like slaps the word limo on it.
He still does the stunts.
He still does the stunts, which is more than I would ever do. And he's still breaking his fucking spine back and forth, back and forth.
You can be stupid, but just stupid enough.
What if him breaking his spine, like just he like does a jump and he fucks up his spine, and he does another jump and he fixes his spine?
He's just constantly on off.
Yeah, he has to jump an even number of times. So all of that said, again, he is just copying people's ideas, and he gets very shameless with this. For example, Knievel's rocket bike was the Sky Cycle X2. Mike's was the X2 Sky Limo.
Oh, wonderful.
I have in my notes here, fuck off.
I want to know what kind of thrust to weight ratio did this bit have?
Also, you guys have the pictures up. This will be on YouTube.
Oh wait, I actually
this
did.
This will be on YouTube, so you can look this up. The Sky Limo it's not a Sky Limo. It is just a rocket. It looks exactly like Evel Knievel's rocket. There is nothing limo-like about this.
That's false advertisement.
Also, it's being sponsored by a dating site for hookups.
Quinn, I just looked at a picture of this man, and holy fuck. I didn't have the pictures open until now.
For a second. I just looked at Mad Mike's hog. You have been holding out on us on this episode.
I did. Dude's packet. No, I didn't have the what is it called? The slides open until now.
Oh yeah, he's elderly.
He's trying to sell me dick pills behind a gas station. Sorry, behind a bowling alley. A gas station's a little too gauche.
So this might be the video thumbnail, but like looking at his flight suit has a bunch of stickers from his sponsors. One of them is a chicken store.
Juan Pollo?
Juan Pollo, a chicken restaurant. He's also got HUD, which is a dating app for hookups. Yeah.
Also, what is it? Dating or drinking isn't rocket science.
Dating isn't rocket science.
Both of them are true in my head at the same time.
And the logo is a peach emoji and an eggplant emoji.
Awesome.
Also,
I can only assume that the launch limo is the one that looks like it is over rotated and he's mid crash.
We will get to that. Now, Evel Knievel worked with famous rocket engineer Bob Truax to design his X2. Mike did not. He spent several years trying to teach himself rocket science and design his own spaceship. Being completely uneducated in rocketry, he mostly failed, spending right up until 2011 living alone with 4 cats in a small home in the high desert in California. He also had 2 adult sons, but they both left him because he was as bad a father as his father was.
Okay. I'm gonna judge him on the him being a shitty father, but nothing weird about living alone with cats.
No.
Do you think, buddy?
Even if you are just like in the desert near Barstow.
The desert dwelling cat aficionado.
Through my old work and the fact that I spent like most of 2025 in the high desert in California, I am weirdly familiar with all of the places where these guys launch from.
Also, I'm looking at the first rocket that he was gonna launch, the Nanolube Corp rocket.
Dude, hell yeah. Nothing. All of the fucking horniest sites were just like, oh my god, I'm giving him so much money. Or, based on the sponsorships, you figure out if your boss is a flat earther or not.
Oh, I see your anger. Okay, I'm on the angry page. Oh, I can't wait for you to start on that when I get there.
So he's doing all of this by himself, but the circle of DIY Rocketeers is small, especially in California, and rumors tend to get around. Even though he hadn't succeeded, Mike's enthusiasm for his project caught the notice of another rocket designer, Waldo Stakes.
I hear you need a flying machine.
Well, the way Stakes approached this was basically, hey, I hear you're going to try and fly a rocket. Do you mind if I take a look at it, just for like safety? Because Stakes, he's not like a super professional or anything, but like in these circles, he knows what the fuck he is doing.
Well, yeah, his 4 cats tell him so.
This is a different guy. This is Waldo Stakes. Incredible name alert. And like in his earlier life, he had done a lot of like drag racing, but then he graduated to being like basically dedicating his whole life to DIY rocket projects. Specifically the small but competitive land speed record scene.
Ooh, okay.
So they don't make it into the news all that often, but there are dozens of teams around the world working to build basically like jet fighters on wheels.
I've seen some of those things.
Like Thrust SSE, Bloodhound SSE.
Exactly, yeah. Or like Aussie Invader is one team. Waldo Stakes is kind of... Yeah, Waldo Stakes is a competitor within that scene. And these guys are like, they're small. They don't have a lot of money behind them. A lot of their stuff, like, they are the guys who are ransacking aircraft graveyards.
They got gumption.
Exactly, yeah. And while they're not like super professional, there is still a huge gulf in experience between what Waldo Stakes has and what fucking Mike Hughes has. So Waldo Stakes like gets involved. He wants to see what Hughes is up to, and he immediately tells him like Hughes is happy to have him and shows Waldo all his progress. And Waldo just says like, do not get into this thing. It is going to kill you. Stakes basically takes Mike under his wing purely out of the fact of like, if I don't help this guy, he will kill himself.
Wasn't this the same thing that happened with Evil Knievel?
Basically, yes. Like Bob Truax, like these guys get involved almost out of pity. Quoting Popular Mechanics, Stakes invited his new financially strapped friend to live at a small ranch he'd inherited in Apple Valley on the southern fringes of the Mojave in exchange for covering the $300 monthly mortgage payment. He showed Hughes how to balance his rocket and change its stance, how to pull the center pressure back, filling notebooks with drawings and measurements. Stakes envisioned a rocket based on a design that legendary engineer Robert Truax pioneered in 1965. The concept is essentially a tea kettle with its spout on the bottom. Fill a cylindrical stainless steel tank with water, crank it up to 400 degrees Fahrenheit using a propane torch.
Oh, God.
So, like, this is actually an inspiration. Like, this is an evolution of the actual rocket. Like, Waldo Stakes got these ideas and modified them from Bob Truax. Not only is this project going to try and replicate and beat Evel Knievel's accomplishment, there is actually an evolutionary path down from the Sky Cycle X2 to the X2 Sky Limo.
Oh, no.
It's not just a cheap copy. It's a child.
Well, the other thing, this is like the only thing that will make the X2 Sky Limo more unique. Like, if it were up to Waldo Stakes, he would design this thing well, he would use previous information from previous designers, and he would build it pretty conventionally. Because that's how safety works. That's how making a good product works. Mike Hughes, And we will see this throughout the entire thing. Mike is convinced that he is better than everybody and that he knows better.
He crossed his eyes hard enough to pierce the firmament.
Together with a small team of volunteers, Hughes and Stakes built the first X2 Sky Limo in 2013. While they couldn't get permission to launch over the Snake River Canyon, they did for a canyon in Arizona. Unfortunately, Waldo's mother died shortly before the launch in January. He asked his new friend if they could postpone the launch so he could attend the funeral. Mad Mike refused. Yeah. This is, again, a pattern in Mike's behavior. He knew that Waldo and a lot of the volunteers, like, I need to be clear here, they do have volunteers. These guys are not just, like, random chumps. This area, I know this area right near, like, LA, just on the desert side. This is where Skunk Works is. This is where Northrop Grumman is. This is where Boeing is. This is where, like, all these, Area 51 is, like, right there. All of these guys, all of these volunteers, they are all retired aerospace engineers. They are all ex-NASA. Every single one of these volunteers is just a bored old dude who wants to do rockets again. And they are way more qualified than Mike Hughes. And while he would, like, whenever he talked to them, he would recognize these qualifications. If he disagreed with them on anything, he would just do his way instead.
Fantastic. Love you, buddy.
The way they describe it, none of them could really veto him because their reasoning was like, well, I'm not flying the thing. He's flying it, so I guess he gets to decide what's going on it. But more than a few of these volunteers quit because they're just like, hey, someone's going to die here. I don't want to be involved anymore. I don't want this on my conscience. I'm leaving.
Yeah, because this entire thing is a fucking nightmare show.
Yeah. Another example was the angle of the launch ramp. Instead of flying vertically or at like a really steep angle, Hughes wanted the rocket launched at basically a 45-degree angle, like which would make it more of an artillery shell than a rocket.
No.
He cared more about distance than height. The downside is, at which Waldo and all the other volunteers, like they pointed out, like, hey, that means that you're not going to have enough altitude to actually deploy the parachute safely. And then Mike ignored them.
Fantastic.
On January 30th, 2014, Mad Mike Hughes was getting ready for his first rocket flight. The tank was pressurized and heated, basically a pressure cooker bomb waiting to go off. It was then that the crew noticed the high-pitched whistle of a leak. In any smart space program, this would be the signal to defuel the rocket and inspect it before trying again. Not so for Mike. He didn't see the leak as a safety risk, he saw it as lost power. The longer this leak was going on, the less powerful his rocket was getting. So he jumped in the cockpit and blasted off right away.
Oh, just let it rip. Just notch
yeah,
it.
just
Let it rip.
Come on,
like
guys, let's go.
Oh, no.
This flight somewhat worked. He reached an altitude of around 1,400 feet or 400 meters. And then, true to Waldo's prediction, the parachute couldn't slow the rocket down enough and it hit the ground at highway speeds. Mike fucked up his legs. He probably, like, everyone describes this as something that should have killed him, but because he's Stretch Armstrong, he survives.
Yeah, he didn't slam a femur through his own forehead. Instead, it just kind of rubber banded out.
He kind of made like the Gmod. He made the Half-Life ragdoll sound for a little while and then popped out okay.
And then just immediately assumed that Peter Griffin
my
posed on the
favorite
ground.
one would be like just dragging yourself out. It's making like the dragging
the physics gun interaction sound.
The physics like the body dragging across the floor sound.
Hell yeah.
Fucking they find
That's what it sounds like when I get out of bed.
Whenever he crashes, they find Mike clipping into terrain. They have to pull him out.
Mike, no, that was his ultimate achievement in life. The first ever human being that found out how to no-clip into the ground.
So later that year, Mike tried for another launch, this time to breach 2,000 feet, and he'd made some changes to the Sky Limo. First off, he had figured out what actually went wrong with the parachutes on the first launch. It was not that he had set the launch angle too low. It's that it's that Waldo and the other volunteers had just been idiots and picked the wrong parachutes. So Mike replaced those ones, which were rocket-grade good parachutes. He replaced them with some second-hand cargo chute that he found.
Hell yeah.
It
doesn't matter the grade of fabric. It doesn't matter. You're G-loading. A parachute is a parachute.
So I will ask you guys to look at slide 13 for this first one. This is the parachute. This is the first iteration of the X2 Sky Cycle. This parachute, like, I'm looking at the container bag. listener, for a parachute, a container is basically the bag that contains the parachute until it is deployed. And then inside that, there's something called a deployment bag. This thing looks like shit. I can see holes in it. This is like fucking horrible. And this is what he is trusting his life to.
Quinn, I want you to look into the container bag. That is a DJ safety tag.
Hell yeah.
Is he doing the composition for his launch?
Also, I do have this in my notes here. The drogue lines are in the fucking exhaust plume of this first rocket. This thing
not just that, they're deliberately threaded through the ring
with chains. They are chained into the launch plume. It's like I'm the way these guys were. I mean, remember with the Evel Knievel thing, the thing that deployed the parachute was basically a small handgun that would like fire and rip the bag open.
You didn't even have that.
This project actually seems different because I wanted to go into this, me being a parachute engineer, thinking like, oh, they're going to have fucked up because everyone always fucks up with parachutes. Like Waldo Stakes, he understands parachutes. I am willing to say that. He makes that clear through this entire story because every time this comes up, there's a bunch of times where people walk away from this project because they don't feel safe. And this is one of them. Mad Mike shows up, he replaces the parachute with like this moth-eaten fucking piece of shit. And Waldo flat out tells him, hey, as long as that parachute is on the rocket, I am not helping you. It's me or the parachute. And Mike just goes, parachute, duh. I'm keeping it. I picked it.
I'm God's chosen oaf for this mission.
So for that next launch, Waldo and a whole bunch of the volunteers are just not involved. So Mike just gets a bunch of new, just gets a bunch of like local kids and whatnot. Thankfully, though, on this next launch attempt, the parachute did not injure Mad Mike because it never got the chance. Because the Sky Limo exploded on the launch pad and it nearly killed one of his new volunteers who lost most of his leg.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like the actual pressure vessel just
exploded. Yeah, and like the nature of the injury, I am not too certain. All I know is that it's described as one of the volunteers, he had part of his leg amputated, is the way they describe it.
So he got scythed through by a piece of this pressure
like
vessel.
A piece of shrapnel or like horribly burned, something like regardless, a horrible fucking injury that Mike is like basically responsible for. And when Waldo tried to get Mike to accept any kind of blame for that accident, Mike ignored him.
Cool. I'm less sympathetic going forwards.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That's like the thing that kept popping up as I was writing this is like Mad Mike Hughes, he's a fucking moron and he's acting like a fucking arrogant dick, but he has friends. He has a good support network. He just chooses to ignore them. Like every step of the way, he has smart people with him who are telling him what the smart, correct thing to do is. And then he's just like, no, I don't think I will.
No, I don't think I will.
I'm going to do something fucking stupid. Mike, we need to call an ambulance for this kid. No,
I put my full name. I wrote his full name.
I wrote his full name in all caps. Just like Mad Mike heals this kid. He like puts his finger in the blood and he writes the kid's name in all caps on his chest. And there's just like a flash of light and then the kid is gone.
And then he no clips through the floor.
he just floats through. Underneath the earth is just an
he gets sent to
sea.
He gets sent to the back rooms.
That is, which is in Mike's house in the middle of the desert, and it's
that's his domain
with cats.
expansion.
There are thousands of people roaming the back rooms in Mike's garage.
Yeah, basically.
So through all of this, like you would think that this would slow them down, this tragic accident, and the fact that all of these volunteers, Waldo, I like him for providing good advice, but at no point does he ever cut his friend off, which would, like, if Waldo had just cut him off, that would have killed Mike's project. Like Waldo had it within his power to just say no and leave, but he keeps coming back and helping Mike, even though Mike is doing like everything, not just self-destructive, he has maimed a guy.
He has an almost body count at this point.
Yeah. And Mike also had something new to occupy himself with. Something new that he thought could finally allow him to achieve his lifelong dream of fame and fortune. Being the world's most famous limo driver just didn't cut it anymore. And that thing was the Flat Earth community.
Oh no.
Again, I kind of think that, like, you know, Mike, you can get into the Guinness Book of World Records if you just do something that no one else has done before. Like if you make your record weird
or if you
and
pay
obscure,
them enough, really, right? You have to pay them
too, yeah. And like Mike, I think, is realizing that he can get fame if he just becomes king of like a smaller and smaller community, you know? Like his level of fame doesn't mean shit in the wider American or like global community. But
God,
if he picks a community,
really would have been good if his dad wasn't a piece of shit.
Yeah.
like he wouldn't have developed such an unhealthy attachment method
to like having people love
he would
him.
He would not be seeking out attention and praise from a ever more dwindling pile of people because he's not getting, because again,
just slightly
this
fewer
is really,
beatings may have created a much different outcome.
Quinn, this is like a direct thing I can speak about, because like this is something I've had to deal with my entire life. Because I had, you know, awful parents and the divorce and the lack of attention, and I don't know, you have to regulate yourself. Like, I don't know.
Man who is a podcaster says,
yeah, I'm on radio or whatever. We're on internet radio.
I'm just trying to imagine like the desperation. You kind of mentioned it there. Like, imagine if you get into a limo in Vegas and you just say like, oh yeah, just take us to the casino or something. And you look up, and in the mirror, in the driver's mirror, you just see like two bloodshot eyes, and he calmly informs you that he is the world's most famous limo driver.
Awesome.
Just that would be the situation where I just go like, nice, back to my own chat.
Nice. I'm frantically pulling at the door that's locked
until you
itself.
notice that he is driving the limo towards a canyon in Arizona.
What is this ramp in front of us?
Like Mike, what the fuck? If this is a limo, then where are all the passengers? If you had told him that, he would have strapped innocent people to the side of that rocket. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that guy he almost maimed.
Oh, yeah. Well, he weighs less now.
Yeah, that chunk of leg that's missing, that's less mass, baby.
And yes, we will get into this more later, but there is a debate about whether or not Mike was actually a flat earther. But something that doesn't get talked about in a lot of articles is that he was absolutely a believer in just about every other conspiracy theory under the sun. So I would not put flat earth past him. He thought the moon landings were fake. He believed a shadowy cabal of Jews was running the world. And he had a strange pseudo-sovereign citizen belief where if he spelled your name in capital letters on a document, it entitled him to legal ownership of all of your property. And he did actually believe this one. I know he believed this one because he got arrested for extorting and threatening people using this theory. He would just approach people and it's like, hey, I own your shit now. Give it to me.
Quinn, this was a roller coaster because I started this entirely on like the mindset of like, oh, I didn't think he was this bad. I just thought he was kind of like a misguided adrenaline junkie, and his death was a tragedy because nobody like stopped him. But I mean,
it's definitely that. But interpersonally, like as a person, I think he's a piece of shit. But the whole situation is not, haha, let's laugh at this guy.
Yeah, no, yeah.
What I want to know is what would happen if you try that back at him. Would you get like dueling names?
What happens if you show him the SpongeBob meme, like capital, non-capital, back and forth thing? Does that mean that you get, is that basically like his equivalent of a prenup? Like you get 50% of his money?
No, that's that would count as spell jamming.
Oh, okay, gotcha. It just reads as white noise to him.
You introduce a cognito hazard to his info space.
But this is actually, like, whenever he gets arrested for this is actually one of the first things where the flat earth community comes to his aid. Because he gets arrested for extorting these people for a different conspiracy theory, and the flat earth community raises money and bails him out.
What?
So this is like, regardless of his actual beliefs, they come to his aid for his projects, for his fame. This is a good move for him. This is like, no one gives a shit about, like, just the story, like, if stuntman tries to fly into space, okay, cool, that's what stuntmen do. Flat earther tries to fly into space to prove that the earth is flat. That gets people's attention. That gets people mad at him on Facebook. That gets, like, people are spreading this story around. Before he hooked up with the flat earth community, he ran an online fundraiser and came away with less than $300. When he tried again after he became a flat Earth icon, he raked in almost $10,000. This works for him. Whether he believes it or not, this is a good move for him.
That's vile.
And he uses that money to build a new X2 Sky Limo. He doesn't iterate the name at any point. It's always the X2 because Evel Knievel's was the X2.
No, he truly like me for real.
like me for real.
He's me in, what is it, KSP with like the shit fuck 2 ultimate final super heavy draft.
This one for sure. Square brackets 1, close brackets. He raised this money explicitly on the promise that he was going to launch himself high up into the air so that he could verify that the Earth was flat, or as he described it, frisbee shaped. Which leads me to wonder. I wonder if that means, like, I'm used to an ultimate frisbee disc where it has the kind of like the lower lip where it curves down. I wonder if the Earth has that. That is an interesting take on flat Earth to me. Is like, no, it's a frisbee.
I wonder if I could convince him that long Earth is real.
It looks like a football.
It looks like a sausage.
Hello, listener, and welcome to the mid-reel ad. If you enjoy Failure to Launch, more bad space history, and you want to hear more of it more often, there is an option, the FTL Patreon. Signing up at any tier gets you access to monthly bonus episodes and Q&As, and joining an elevated tier gets you even more content, like Chris-narrated minisodes. If that sounds good, you can sign up at www.patreon.com/failure to launch. And now, back to the episode.
The launch.
With his new funding in hand, Mad Mike Hughes spent 2017 building an even bigger rocket, one that he believed could carry him as high as 4,000 feet. His new plans also caught the attention of some LA documentary filmmakers who wanted to track his progress and journey. This documentary, which is good and I do recommend it, is called Rocketman. But that year also saw a lot more strain in the relationship between Mike Hughes and Waldo Stakes. Mike was completely preoccupied on chasing attention and finding new funders for his steam rocket launches, while Waldo actually wanted to expand and improve. He drew up plans that would have launched Mad Mike into space proper, like above the Kármán line, above 100 kilometers altitude. His plan was to build a real rocket, a chemical rocket, not just a pressure cooker, and suspend it below a stratospheric balloon. Once the balloon carried the rocket halfway to space, the rocket would ignite and send Mike the rest of the way. And whether or not this would have worked, like Waldo personally put the odds of Mike's survival at 50-50, this is a real rocket launch method that has been proposed by real space agencies. There'd be a lot of difficulty in this, but this is real science. And crucially, the way Waldo sees it, this is like, all right, well, we did the steam rockets to make some money. Let's do something big. And the way Mike looks at it is, the steam rockets are making me money. Let's keep doing the steam rockets.
Good old steam rocket. It'll never go wrong.
Waldo could have evicted Mike at any point. He is letting him live for free on his, not for free, for $300 rent on his ranch. He has picked up this guy and guided him through this entire process. And now it is becoming clear that Mike does not care about Waldo. Mike only cares about Mike.
Fantastic.
Mike rode the Sky Limo again in March 2018. He didn't reach 2,000 feet, but he did come pretty close. Again, he fucked up the parachutes, this time manually deploying them way too late. So he landed really hard, and he escaped alive with some broken vertebrae.
This man cannot agree with his parachutes.
Again, and all of these injuries should have killed him, but he always walks away with a completely fucked up leg or a broken spine, but it's always broken in just the right way that he's back up and walking in 2 weeks.
Why is it that these guys are always just really
indestructible?
Indestructible and incredibly fortunate. And then I have a friend that has fucking 2 herniated discs or something.
Yeah, so someone who if I
from the misfortune of their birth, if I get up out of the bed weird, I could fuck up my spine. And Mad Mike is throwing himself around like a Half-Life ragdoll and just get it and he'll wind up in the hospital for 2 weeks and then he'll just be back up and at it. And he's 65 at this point. Even though he hadn't gone much higher than his first attempt, Mike was able to turn the launch into more fame and attention for himself.
Between the headlines about the flat earther flying the sky limo and the release of the Rocketman documentary in 2019, Mike caught the attention of TV producers in LA. They liked his story. They wanted to give him his own TV show. And this show did actually kind of happen. It's called Homemade Astronauts. It was on the Science Channel and it was on Discovery, but it was canceled after one season. It was also dedicated to Mike's memory. Yeah.
So wait, was he like not even... He was not even alive.
It was some of it. Okay, we'll get to some of the filming. He was not really in it because of what we're about to talk about, because the TV producers more than likely killed him.
Oh.
Crucially, for this new show to go ahead, the producers wanted fresh footage of Mike flying the sky limo, not just old footage from like previous launches in the Rocketman documentary. They basically pressured Mad Mike into flying another one of these pressure cooker flights just for some B-roll. Mike, being Mike, was all for this. Volunteers on his team describe him as changing instantly as soon as anyone offered him money. Like, if you offer him money, he will bend over backwards to do, like, he will do anything for you. So he accepted the idea of another flight instantly. Waldo and the rest of Mike's team tried to convince him not to go. They knew that even though he'd gotten lucky so far, every time they launched, there was a real risk that Mike would die. And they told him that it wasn't worth rolling those dice just for, like, a couple of cameramen. Mike ignored them. Mike also ignored when they suggested some improvements to the sky limo. In earlier launches, the pressure tanks had a bad habit of leaking, especially around the release valves and the actual rocket nozzle. Waldo's fix for this was to replace the entire valve with what's called a rupture disc, and this is basically a thin metal seal over the tank. There's no valve. All it is it's just like, it's just a seal to be punctured. When the rocket was launched, a needle would puncture the disc right in the middle, and then the entire seal would blow open, and crucially, the pressure would escape evenly.
Oh no.
Mike had another idea. He rigged up a motor and a system that, like, basically instead of a rupture disc, he would have a metal sheet on top of the nozzle, and a motor would pull it out of the way, basically opening it up like a sliding door. Do any of you guys want to guess the problem?
I already read this thread, but my big problem with this is they do the same thing and one is easier and
my
more
brain
proven.
farted. I heard sliding door and then that was it.
So basically the way that Mike...
Asymmetric thrust.
So, yeah. Like, you have this circular nozzle, and then in Mike's plan, over top of that, you have a metal grate. You have a metal plate, and a motor will pull that out, gradually opening up the throat of the rocket and allowing the pressure through. The problem is that whenever you open up a sliding door, one part of the door opens up before the rest of it. The left side opens up before the right, and that means that your rocket nozzle is producing thrust out of only one side of it.
I also now have the mental image of him getting 50 feet off the pad and then just hitting, centrifuge levels of G-force. Just he's being distilled into his parts.
Oh, for his soup-like homogenate. Now, Mike tried to launch 3 times in 2019, but every time was called off for either weather or problems with the rocket. This was a problem because Mike was now beholden to the studio executives, and every time they shipped a camera crew out for a failed launch attempt, it cost them $20,000. So they're $60,000 in the hole, and they're basically telling Mike, like, hey, next time is going to happen or you're not getting this show. Again, there's some things where, like, different people are like, Mike told Waldo, like, no, I'm not being pressured by the people who are holding $60,000 over my head. But practically everyone else on the team is like, no, there's a lot of external pressure going on here. The day before the launch, Waldo Stakes and the other volunteers made one final attempt to convince Mike Hughes not to fly. One of them told Mike about a vivid dream he'd had the night before of the rocket failing and Mike falling to his death. Mike made fun of him for it. Waldo tried to convince Mike that risking his life for TV footage was pointless. He said,
"There's so many things we can do. We've already proven we can build a steam rocket and jump it. Let's take money we can raise and let's go to space. Let's quit screwing around with these things. Those things are going to kill you. Every time you get in one of those, you throw the dice."
And Mike simply responded,
"I'm going to do it. I want them to have their own footage."
This is where like I'm getting more and more conflicted about it, because like he's an idiot. He has this whole support network of all of these friends who are doing, like, they are actively begging him not to die.
Mike, don't get into the man killer 3 billion.
And especially like I know it would be like, to me it would be the least convincing rationally, but the friend who just described that he had a vivid dream the night before of his friend dying, and Mike makes fun of him for it. He literally, I can't remember the guy's name, but the quote is just like, "Oh, you're just trying to rain on my parade." Like, no, what the fuck? I feel like this more than anything is not an act. He's not in front of cameras doing this. This is him talking to his friends.
This is the realest him.
Exactly. And he is laughing at his friends who are concerned about his life. Like, at the very least, what I can say is, like, you cannot say at all that he was not warned about this. He was warned about fucking everything. He deliberately ignored the advice of literal rocket scientists in order to build his rocket his way.
But no, let's be idiots.
The next day, everyone gathered for the launch. They had a bigger crowd than ever, more than 50 people. Again, he's talking like, this is going to be watched more than the so-called moon landings.
So, okay, no, that just earned him a demerit right there.
Yeah.
Continue.
Some camera crews from the network, some locals who'd heard about the attempt through social media, a collection of flat earthers who were ready to be vindicated and proven right, and a small handful of reporters. Mike climbed into the cockpit and turned the launch valve. The Sky Limo rocketed off the launch rail faster than it had ever gone, more than 500 miles an hour by the time it leaves the rail. That is a monstrous amount of acceleration. Previous launches capped out at like 300 miles an hour. As soon as it left the rails, witnesses describe it jolting hard to the right. One guy described it like it looked like it had been hip checked. It just shoved to the right really fucking hard, before settling into a nice tall ballistic arc and disappearing behind the clouds. A pair of this is one of those things you will see pictures of, like a parachute falling off of this thing. Wikipedia describes these events wrong, and that's why I kind of went into this episode from my like preliminary reading of like, oh, this is a parachute failure. I will get to laugh at this as the parachute guy. That's not what happened. The parachutes that fell off were backups. It's bad that they fell off, but those were not the main parachutes. Those ones stayed with the rockets.
Sorry, how quickly did you say he launched?
500 miles an hour.
Like 0 to 500 in an instant?
Practically, yes.
I don't want to get too ahead of us, but did that have something to do with him dying and not the parachute?
It's very possible. I mean, we'll get to that. We don't know. There's a strong possibility that Mad Mike Hughes was already dead when he hit the ground.
Like, yeah, like 0 to 500. It seems like a lot to suddenly do, because things that go that fast usually don't do so instantaneously. So
I was gonna say, it looks like he didn't hit that on the rails, but as soon as that parachute detached, he started schmoving.
Yeah. So at least at first, like the auxiliary parachutes falling off is bad, but he still has the main chutes. Everything seems like it's going fine at first. But Mike wasn't responding on the radio, and when the ground crew saw his rocket beginning to fall back to Earth, the parachutes didn't deploy. You can watch video of this. It's pretty rough. People are just screaming at Mike to open the chutes, and then the rocket slams into the ground in a huge cloud of dust. I have worked on payloads that have landed at terminal velocity in the desert. I know how far the debris can get thrown. It's a lot, and it's messy. After 22 seconds of flight and flying over 3,000 feet in the air, Mad Mike Hughes probably died on impact. We're not actually certain. Quote, later analysis of the wreckage would show that the launch apparatus Mike had put together caused the left side of the nozzle to rip free from the rocket when the water was released. Although some of the steam went through the nozzle, much of it escaped to the left, propelling the rocket to the right as it came off the launch rail. Waldo speculates that the violence of the shift knocked Mike unconscious. The rocket flew 22 seconds after the last of the steam dissipated, but Mike never responded to radio communications. 2 armed and unopened parachutes were still attached to the rocket when it came down. So not a parachute failure, regardless of we don't know exactly how Mike was not able to operate the parachutes. He was either already dead, he was knocked unconscious by the acceleration, There's some speculation that the jolt to the right could have knocked him out or even just broken his neck immediately.
I'm willing to bet it was incapacitation and then impact.
Yeah, regardless, unconscious or dead, you're still not there
Results
for
the
it.
same.
Yeah, you are incapacitated and not able to operate the rocket. I'm kind of surprised none of these guys ever just add like a timer to the parachute, because you know how long you're going to be roughly in the air. It's a ballistic arc, just as like a fail-safe. If he was unconscious, a timer could have saved his life. But yeah, he very likely died on impact.
Was Mike really a flat earther?
Now, Mike's death in the crash obviously brought him a lot of posthumous media fame. This is how I heard about this event. The headlines practically wrote themselves. Something with the implication that, of course, someone dumb enough to think that the Earth is flat would get themselves killed in a Looney Tunes-ass way, like flying and failing to fly a homemade rocket. Audio medium, but everyone, host and listener, raise your hand if you heard about this in 2020 and laughed, because I'm raising my hand right now.
Yeah, I did.
I actually did not.
I remember this story.
But after the initial coverage, questions quickly started to arise about whether Mike was actually a flat earther or was simply using it for fundraising and to generate media buzz. He was, after all, a stuntman, and lying about yourself, your beliefs, and your achievements is basically half the job. Then again, Mike was also a serial conspiracy theory believer. He believed in just about every other conspiracy theory under the sun, so why wouldn't he believe in flat Earth? I'm going to get out ahead of this right now. We actually don't know Mike's true beliefs. He certainly played the part of a devoted flat earther. Like, even then, I say devoted flat earther. Anytime people asked him, he always presented it as more of like I want to say like a centrist between the globe and the flat earth people. Of just kind of like, I'm just going up there to check.
I think that the world is like it's like a hemisphere.
Yeah.
But only my hemisphere is real.
It's actually Mike coming back down and going like, it's an oblate spheroid. It is not a sphere.
Also, Quinn, I don't want to distract from, the engineering tragedy that had occurred, but you were, your background is in parachutes. So how do I know that, you're not just covering for your industry? Big Parachute selling more parachutes. Maybe it was
Quinn,
the parachutes
Quinn
failing.
actually sabotaged the parachutes.
He actually survived and was throttled with Kevlar line as soon as he landed.
What you don't see is the
Capricorn. It's Capricorn 1, but it's Sky Limo 1. We fucking hunted him across the desert.
No, what you don't see is Quinn just like walking up to him and just putting 3 rounds in his head, courtesy of the Canadian Space Agency.
It's parachute locking pins just fired out of a gun.
Giving him his death warrant in French and English.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like every Terminator line and having to do that in English French. Terminated. Terminé.
Awesome.
Hell yeah. So yeah, we don't really know for a fact whether or not Mike was a flat earther. Again, he like if you're playing it up, he was being kind of coy to the media of just like, well, I don't really know what to think. I'm just gonna go up there to check. Is that really so bad? Which obviously everyone took to mean like, oh, he's playing the role of a flat earther. Like no one, I don't know.
I mean, it sounds like he's very money driven.
Mike's publicist and one of the people from the Rocketman film, Darren Schuster, he said the flat Earth thing was a PR stunt that we dreamed up. But some of the other people involved in the documentary say that Mike talked about flat Earth to them off camera often enough that they think that he believed it. So I guess kind of anticlimactic. We don't know. Overall, Mike just seems like a tremendously weird dude. Someone with like for me, it's the fact that like, I always kind of assumed in this story that he was being crazy, but he was off doing his own thing. I did not realize how much of a support network he had or how many people were fighting for him to not die.
Yeah.
He had an entire volunteer team who like actual ex-NASA scientists who stuck with him even after he made this all into like a conspiracy nutjob flat Earth stunt.
You know how I'm giving you a place to sleep? I kind of want you to keep sleeping here.
Yeah.
Don't die.
Hey, buddy. Like, what if we just like extend this sleepover? And again, like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, obviously, a lot of these launches, a lot of these projects, like before they launch, like Waldo, his thing is that he would put a little bit of holy water, actually from the Vatican. He would get it flown in from the Vatican into the rocket tank, and they would do prayers after. And on that final launch, Mike was pissed at him, so he didn't let him do that. And I don't think that would have made any difference, but it's just the fact of like, those last interactions to me really show how much Mike did not care about his friends, that like, after all rational arguments have failed, your last attempt to try and save your friend's life is telling him about a dream you had and how you don't want him to die.
And then you get mocked for it.
And then he laughs in your fucking face and says that you're just trying to sabotage him.
And then he hits himself with the ultimate spin cycle, and then, becomes
like,
flat.
I don't know. I cannot think of anything more that would like devastate me emotionally more than that, of like, after trying everything else, spilling my guts to my friend and then being mocked for it. Not just mocked, of like him saying, you never believed in me. You're just trying to ruin my big moment.
That...
I did, however, want to end this. So there's a very good Wired article, and like there's a bunch of articles about this. This was obviously in 2020 all the rage to talk about like the flat earther who died trying to reveal that the earth was flat. But this one article, this one journalist was actually there. He actually watched it, and he does have a much more kind of, more than any of the other articles I read, a much more kind of human take on this, because he did know Mike. He had followed the progress of Mike and Waldo through the years. He describes himself as being there and like being one of the people in the videos who knew that Mike couldn't hear him, but he's just screaming like, shoot, like throw the fucking shoot. And he put some of this on the kind of media itself, that all of these, like not just in that final jump, not just posthumously, but every single jump along the way, they fed every single launch along the way, they fed in and they kind of gave him the attention that he craved and laid out pretty much the clear next steps to get more. Quote, while these august publications didn't make the point explicitly, the implication was clear. Here was another madman who got what he deserved. To be sure, Mike was a conspiracy theorist par excellence. He was convinced that shadowy international cabals were running the world. He thought the lunar landing had been a hoax. At the time of his death, he was under indictment for extortion, thanks to a scheme based on his theory that spelling a person's name in entirely capital letters entitled someone else to their estate. But of course, his biggest delusion was that there was widespread interest in his antics, and we in the media enabled him. At least, I enabled him, and I will always regret it. I'm just kind of like, I told this guy that people wanted to hear what he had to say, and that encouraged him. Fire. Exactly. Yeah. Like whether intentionally or not, like you can think it's a real story, but maybe you can like, I don't want to over psychoanalyze him and bring it all back to like him needing attention from not having it as a kid, but like,
God, why did he have to die in the horny rocket too?
Oh God, yeah. I think we described it before, but listener, the entire rocket that he died in, its main sponsor is for a hookup dating app called HUD. The logo is a peach emoji and an eggplant emoji, and the entire rocket is painted eggplant purple.
Except for the tip.
And the tagline on the rocket, the biggest thing written on the rocket is, dating isn't rocket science.
Imagine burning in hot, and that is what you are rolling.
You're just hearing the jingle over the radio.
You become flat like the earth you believe.
And that, guys, is the story of Mad Mike Hughes, the world's most famous limo driver, a possible flat earther, and an amateur Rocketman who was on the Discovery Channel very briefly. How are we all feeling?
You know what this is? I feel like I would have some mercy or some like kind of pity, but there were so many off-ramps.
So many. And like, I don't know if I put blame on them, but I do think that like Waldo, any of those guys, they could have just left him. He would not have been able to do this without them. And like every single time he does something fucking stupid or dangerous, they come back to him and they somewhat enable him again. Like everybody along the way was enabling Mad Mike Hughes.
This part of my language, colossal dipshit.
Yeah, I ain't gonna complain about that.
It was similar to Bart. Like, I came into this thinking that he was just, this like silly guy or whatever,
kind of harmless conspiracy guy,
kind of harmless, right? Yeah, but he's kind of more of a chud than I would have imagined him to be.
Yeah. You start to realize that, like, oh, he's kind of like a bad person.
Yeah, and when
I definitely know what you mean, though. We're like,
yeah, like, I just thought that,
like, flat Earth. No one's ever committed domestic terrorism for flat Earth.
He did not make more effort to be a better person throughout his life. So, like, I can only
at a certain point, it's kind of just like, okay, yeah, like, you have sympathy for his shitty childhood, but he did not improve himself. Like, and I definitely think he had the means to. He was a fucking NASCAR pit crew chief. He was like working on movies. He was not poor by that point in his life. But then by the time we pick back up with the rocket stuff, he's living alone. He has pushed away his 2 children, and he is like completely destitute.
Yeah, like originally, basically, I felt kind of bad. I mean, naturally, I'm going to feel bad anytime something like this happens, which, mostly it's like for his friends.
Yeah, yeah.
Considering I can't really feel bad for his family, who he's estranged from the sounds of it. So
yeah, like whenever he died, he had no like real immediate like none of his family were there at the launch. Like his 2 kids, they had already, like, he estranged himself from his parents, and his kids estranged himself from him. But yeah, listener, that has been an episode of Failure to Launch. We talked about Mad Mike Hughes, the flat earther asterisk, who died doing amateur rocketry, and just kind of more of that weird amateur rocketry scene that we will definitely be talking about more in the future. Until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Adios.
Thank you to everyone who have signed up to support the show, and a big shout out to all of our top tier patrons. Our cyborg cats are Boss, Katiga Reptile, Charlie, Comrade Sleepy Bro, Daniel F, Graham E, Jesselyn T, Jorg 2, Cuckseat Stool, Startup Investor, Joss, Kamo, Lane of the Wired, Matt, Mobius Striptease, Murray Motorsports, Mysterious Stranger, Number Negative, Oil Drum, Pat, Paul C, Rare Scrungle Spingus 3rd Edition, Skylab Bricks, Source Force, Spectre Cohen, Tortilla Baron, Vivek D, and Wingsmith. Our space dogs are a Union Thug, A. Blinken, Akiogo, Aerial Badger Release, Agent Carter, Alice N, Andrew F, Andrew K, Angie, Angry Old Man, Yada Yada, Anthony C, Arcsign, Atomic Hobbit, Otto Fox, Baron M, Batbay, Ben L, Binary Badger, Beanie, Boomzilla, Brian F, Brian L, C, Cantaloupe Was Taken, Carson D, Chainsaw Snuggling, Chris K, Christian K, Cole C, Captain Lag, Daddy Bongo, Daniel, Does Smiley, Dom K, Dr. Shockmaster, Ank, Aaron, Eric J, Fractal Moonlight, Furious Luddite, George B, Grant K, Griffin, former snow shoveler of Burger King, Heiko S, Howl's Moving Pictures by Rush, Ian R, JM M, James C, James H, James T, Jamie K, Jarl Breadmaker, Jerry M, Jedediah D, John C, John Boy D, Jonathan G, Jonathan W, Johntastic 20x6, Juan, Just Morse, Kate B, Kate D, Corbin the Dog, Cruz, Lenswipe, Lorgath, Luke O, Mar, Marigold Muskrat, Marto, Maritza, Matthew M, Mech Girl Alley, Mish, Mr. Dr. John, Newman Instrumentality Project, Narrow Ebb, Nelly W, New Name, Nicholas S, Nick S., Norman W., Northeast Driver, NSFW NSA, Outlook Cove, Panda, Patron, Peter. Please talk off the cuff about Taiwan and watch to live. Devin, Poopbutt, Randall, Ray H, RBK, Rato B, Riley, Sailor of Fortune, Scott K, Sean F, Sean H, Sensual Kazoo, Sean P, Silly Vixen, Something, Sparks, Spirit of Thunder, Swanee, The Best Sean, Thomas M, Tim P, Toasty Ken, Trash Do, Virash T, Brisk, Will W, William O, William P, Zachary JB, Zach, Zemo, Sim, and Zombie Dwarf. Albert Count, 191. Thank you for listening to another episode of Failure to Launch. If you want to follow us, we are Failure to Launch on Blue Sky and FT Launch Pod on Instagram. We also post our episodes with visual aids at Failure to Launch Podcast on YouTube. FTL intro and outro themes were provided by DJ Danarchy.